Welcome to the post-game pod on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Ole Miss a 12-2 winner over Charleston Southern. Run ruled them again, got the sweep in the weekend, and added a little bit of margin of error moving forward. So they did what they needed to do. But this is the post-game pod on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Post Game Pod. Ole Miss a 12-2 winner over Charleston Southern today in a game that kind of started off a little bit of shaky. Charleston Southern started in the first with a solo home run. For the first time this year, Ole Miss trailed. But Ole Miss is still not trailed at the end of an inning at all because they answered in the bottom half with a two-run home run by Kevin Graham. Kemp Alderman had a big day with a home run and a nice double. I think he had 3 RBIs. Kevin Graham had 4 RBIs on his day. Peyton Chatagnier got a hit at the end. He kind of struggled a little bit until his last at bat, but he's the one that set up that run rule from happening. The last batter of the game was Knox Lapazer, hitting I think they ruled it a single, but it was just in between 3 players in the outfield, and they weren't able to basically make it happen. So they did what they were supposed to do. I mean, these are the early games. The bats are going to be a little bit cold because it warms up with the heat. Ole Miss just needed to win. They needed to sweep. They did that. They did it by a combined score, I think, of like 32-5. It was a fairly dominant weekend. And in doing that, they were able to kind of step forward. And I'm not going to dwell too much. Like I said, I'm not going to nitpick too much about this game because the bats woke up over the course of the weekend a little bit. Extra base hits started to hit. They had 5 extra base hits today, 3 doubles, 2 home runs. Jacob Gonzalez is hitting 364 all of a sudden. Peyton Chatagnier is up at 235. So it's something to where it's kind of morphing into it. And with Kevin Graham kind of waking up in the future, that can only be good news. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, and player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, UFC, odds right to the Olympics coverage and information. The Olympics are, I think, ending today. It was the last day of it. So head to the website today, use your mobile device, and learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Also, I want to tell you about Built Bar. This time of the year, I've pretty much given up on all my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. I'm going to stick to my resolution to eat right, thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because it tastes so good. Have you tried Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, they're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. So go to Built.com, scroll down to your macros chart, you'll be blown away. High protein, low cal, high fiber, low carb. Compare that to a candy bar, which is usually around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. Mint brownie, coconut almond, and a few others for this month. White chocolate cookies and cream. They make it all delicious, all new flavors coming out all the time. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It'll be delicious, and it'll be good for you. At Built Bar, they are all about the taste. They try to make it delicious first, and they figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how they do it, but they pull it off every single time. So here's the offer. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off. Built.com. So, looking is going in. Ole Miss, like I said, swept 3-0 as a top 5 team. You're probably going to move up after that. I think Mississippi State dropped a series. I'm not sure exactly how Arkansas finished up, but they were in a tight one in the rubber match today. Texas is playing relatively well. I mean, it's early in the season, and all of this stuff doesn't matter. But the thing to remember when it comes to college baseball, this more than Major League Baseball is a sprint. So whenever people view it like a marathon and they say things like, this is baseball, it doesn't matter. Well, this is a sprint, and this is the difference between a top 8 national seed and a 14 seed having to go to Arizona and play 120-degree weather. So it's important to win these games. You need to put away the teams you need to put away. You need to do really well in your non-conference schedule. You need to win your non-conference games because it's going to give you more margin for error as the season moves on. Now, once you get to the SEC, I think we can hit to 16 or 17 SEC wins. If we have decent enough pitching, we can get to 18 and 19. That's just my thought just from looking at it. I'm a real big fan after this weekend of John Gaddis, the way he operated. Jack Doherty coming in out of the bullpen looked fantastic. Drew McDaniel was a little bit shaky at the beginning of his start today, but settled into a nice groove and closed it out and got some all-important outs. And on Derek Diamond, like I said, I'm just going to pay attention to his velocity because I just don't like how it drops after 4 innings. It doesn't do it on many other pitchers. I just don't know. It could be something to where he's doing something that I don't understand, but I don't think so. I think if you've got that 93 mile-an-hour fastball set up in your arsenal, you don't make your fastball easier to hit in order to get them out. So I don't think it's intentional. So it'll be interesting to see that. Let's see. Going into Arkansas State, this is a game that Ole Miss should do all right, and they play Virginia Commonwealth next week. Got a 4 p.m. Eastern start and 2 noon starts, or maybe Central starts. Don't know about the time zone, so let's see. What time zone is this? It doesn't say. Websites of colleges and universities have gotten tons better over the years, and they're so much better now than they used to be, but they're still terrible. They're still awful. They do all they can with it, but, I mean, there's stuff that's just not explained. But big win today for the Rebels. Let's go over the box score one more time before we get out of here. Peyton Chatagnier 1 for 5, had a single that started that 8th inning run rule rally. Jacob Gonzalez was 1 of 2. Tim Elko was 0 of 2, but he scored 2 runs, and he actually was a really good player defensively and kind of made his bones at first base. Kind of impressive. Kevin Graham hit the bomb. He was 2 for 3. Justin Bench 1 for 3. TJ McCants 1 for 2. He had a missile off the wall. Ben Van Cleve 1 for 2. Just missed a home run. Just missed his first home run. Calvin Harris 2 for 4. Went the other way a couple of times for some big hits, and Kemp Alderman kind of was the breakout performer of the weekend. In the comments below, tell me who you think your player of the weekend was for Ole Miss Baseball, and I'll see what I can educate me. Tell me why. This person is the weekend key, Ken Alderman, because his double that got no more than 5 feet off the ground was the play that turned around the game. I think that was actually the start of that huge 8-run inning. So pretty good. And Ole Miss did what they had to do. That is the Game 3 thing. Ole Miss got the sweep. They did what they had to do. They have more margin for error now than they had at the start of the weekend. Just keep winning these non-conference games. So anyway, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Now, make your second listen Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. I want to thank everybody for watching, tuning in. We're going to do this during baseball games during the season. We're going to do like a 5-10 minute recap for people that couldn't see what happened. Look at it as replacing the box score. We'll tell you the basic narratives of the game. Oh, also, before we get out here, apparently Hayden Dunhurst, the reason he wasn't in the lineup, he tweaked his hamstring yesterday. That's the reason Calvin Harris got the start today. I almost forgot about that. So thank you very much for tuning in. We've got Derek Vandegrift's going to come on Tuesday and break down the weekend from his perspective, and we got Bill Flowers on Monday. So thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.